12 Secular Steps, An Addiction Recovery Guide by Bill W. Chapter 7, Long-Term Sobriety, and Steps 10, 11, 12. This chapter begins with an epigraph from Sir James Matthew Barrie. The life of every man is a diary in which he means to write one story, and writes another. And his humblest hour is when he compares the volume as it is with what he vowed to make it. Chapter Summary. Steps 10, 11, and 12 are known as the maintenance steps because they monitor and protect the sobriety and personal changes we have put together up to this point. Step 10 is a daily inventory step, an invaluable tool to keep us aware of our day-to-day actions, emotions, and motives. Step 11 renews our commitment to the principles and values we discussed in Steps 6 and 7. When combined, Steps 10 and 11 tell the story of who we are today and compares it to who we should be. Kudos to you if they match up nicely. Step 12 goes beyond this sort of personal maintenance and suggests we contribute to the maintenance and mission of the 12-step fellowship that came through for us. We should give back and help spread the word. We can do this through sponsorship and other forms of support and service. I strongly encourage recovered addicts to continue their membership and participation for as long as their circumstances allow. Step 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when I was wrong, promptly admitted it. The Step 10 inventory differs from those in Steps 4 and 8 in that it's pocket-sized and convenient for daily use. We're not building a new house here. We're improving and maintaining one. Step 10 functions as vigilance against relapse and against the return of dysfunctional patterns we identified in Step 4. The steps were meant to be done in sequence. But if, my rebellious friend, you decide to do one out of sequence, let it be Step 10. I encourage you to use it immediately after Step 6 or 7. That's when I started using a daily journal, and it was immensely useful to that phase of recovery. A figure follows. Title: Suggestions on how to journal for Step 10. Start your inventory with whatever comes to mind at the end of the day. Events, things you did, things other people did, meaningful encounters, emotional or depressed frame of mind, bad or good news, or just another day. Then look for defects playing out in your actions or emotional reactions. Selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, fear, and anger are the defects to look for. Are there events or people you are struggling against when your strategy should be acceptance? Are you procrastinating on an issue and maybe tomorrow's entry should be an action on that issue? Pay special attention to self-centeredness in your daily inventory. My friend Abby points out that sometimes being self-centered is not so much what you are thinking about yourself as it is how much time you spend thinking about yourself. As you go through the day, are you obsessing about you? Do you owe someone an amends based on today's journal entry? Examine your day for things that are going well. Reward yourself from time to time when you pull off a good day by doing the right stuff. Are you happy today? Or at least content? Always be on the lookout for signs of impulsive or addictive behavior as they crop up in daily life. Are you still struggling with cravings and triggers? How strong a recovery program are you still working on a day-to-day basis? Daily journaling, diary, is an excellent tool through which to quickly inventory notable events, actions, or emotional reactions that occurred during the day. Journaling like this will soon make real-time awareness and analysis of your actions and motives a habit. The suggestions above support maintenance, but you can use journaling for organizing your life and creative self-improvement as well. There's a potential in the empty page that you start out with every day. If there's a goal you want to reach, make a bargain with yourself to get an action entry on that goal today, no matter how small. Journaling incremental progress toward a goal can work as an effective motivational tool. Maybe there's a long-term desire to reach an educational or professional goal. Maybe rebuilding specific relationships is your priority. Maybe there's something that, for a long time, you've known was meant to be your purpose in life. Put it on paper and put down the realistic steps you need to get there. Then start journaling both your plan of action and your progress and insights as you do it. Step 11. Sought to improve my conscious awareness of ethical principles and values, and to use them consistently as standards in my decisions and actions. I had a sponsee, Jack, from whom I learned a lot as he progressed through what seemed to me a nearly flawless, but not at all easy, first year of sobriety. He invented a handy little saying in his first weeks of recovery: find satisfaction in simplicity. He pointed out multiple times to me the success of this slogan as a starting point on solving nearly anything he was struggling with in early recovery. How do I stay sober today? Don't drink or use no matter what. How do I change today? Let the golden rule be my guide. How do I get my life back on track? Live one day at a time and be responsible. How do I get my finances in order again? Am I spending this money on what I need or what I want? The truth is not only out there, it's easy to recognize in its simplicity. And in the final analysis, it's not really a secret. Prayer and meditation, the traditional step 11, encourages us to use these to create awareness of God's will. I like both of these practices. They help us clear out the background noise of everyday reality and focus on the simple principles and values that have become the foundation of our character. For the faithful, these principles and values come as the Word of God. For the agnostic or atheist, they come from the logic and reason of a humanist philosophy. I hope. This is an easier step for the faithful. The danger in skepticism is self-reliance and moral relativism. In 12-step recovery, however, the believer and the skeptic both get to a point where they place their faith in the same simple, effective principles and values. The real test of whether we have changed or not comes when we hit tough times and situations. Death, divorce, other fractured relationships, illness, rejection, loss of a job or financial setbacks, etc. Do our actions reveal that we can stick by these new principles and use our new coping skills? Will satisfaction in simplicity suffice in crisis? What can I do? What must I accept? Will I think of others in the heat of hard times, or look out for myself? Step 12. Having recovered as a person as a result of these steps, I acknowledge my commitment to help others and to continue to use these principles in my daily life. I mentioned in the Chapter 3 summary that I was once at a meeting where Step 12 was the topic of discussion. This sparked in me the discovery that rather than a spiritual awakening as a result of step work, I had grown and matured instead. Well, I attended another meeting with the same Step 12 theme years later. While sharing her thoughts on this step, a recovered addict named Rachel mentioned that days earlier she had attended a funeral for someone who had decades of recovery, someone much loved and respected by members of his home group. She said that after the service, she overheard various conversations about this man, and a common theme had developed. People did not talk about his career and education, both of which were most impressive. They did not talk about his wealth, his family, not even his home or his expensive car. What they did talk about was how freely he gave of his time to others. They talked about how he had positively impacted the lives of others in this way. If we leave a legacy like that, we have not only overcome addiction, we have also grown past the self-centered nature of the addict, what Wilson referred to as the bondage of self. You do not need a prestigious education, or wealth, or to be the patriarch of a large family to leave a mark like the man's. In fact, he already had all that 26 years ago when, at 3 a.m., he sat at a table with a loaded handgun. He was wondering if he would blow his brains out that night or ask for help when daylight came. The bourbon in the half-empty glass nearby wasn't working anymore. Like me, and so many others, the man had a conscious contact with the crisis that forced him to take an honest look at himself. Once he knew the truth and accepted his addiction, there came the big question. What do I do now? He made his choice, and he chose well. That choice became his legacy. What will your legacy be? This concludes Chapter 7 and the reading of 12 Secular Steps, an Addiction Recovery Guide by Bill W.